Hey Summoners, how are you doing today? Welcome to IPL4 Qualifiers, hitting the round of 16 today. Good stuff. And today, first match for you guys today, Fnatic versus TCM.
Yeah, I'm really excited because we haven't, we're from North America. IPL is a North American organization, so we haven't gotten a chance to see a lot of these European teams. And Fnatic, of course, with their DreamHack finish last year, they were one of those dream teams for a while, and everyone really enjoyed watching them play. XPK and Suche, of course, doing a fantastic job. Everyone on the team, playing at a really high standard. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't heard a lot of them recently, so it'll be interesting to see how they come back. And then TCM, they're kind of new to us too, but they were actually just picked up by TCM Gaming, and they were on they were Team Enemy Rampage. Yep. So we had seen that they've accomplished a bit in their short time in the EU kind of tournament scene. Yep.
So thank you once again, thank you all for joining us today. I'm Hat Person, that's the Red Baron. So today we got 2 games today for you from our round of 16. Tomorrow we'll be coming back to you with 2-3 more, but for now we got some big hitters. So Fnatic TCM now, and later I believe we're going to be covering Absolute Legends versus Mono Esports.
Yeah, and that's Absolute Legends, as everyone, I'm sure, we have a lot of EU viewers, know is a really top EU team. And then Mono Esports is actually pretty new in North America, but a lot of their players have been around for quite some time. Yep. I believe they beat Millennium in the first round.
They did, 2-0.
2-0 against Millennium. So there you go. That's pretty impressive. They have won a couple of Go for Lols, so they are definitely a competitive team. So that should be pretty exciting to watch.
Yep. So but for now we got Fnatic and TCM with us, and for anyone who's still relatively new to competitive LoL, Fnatic is a really, really big deal. Right now they're tied for second in the EU circuit rankings. They won IEM New York. They're 4th currently in the ESL rankings, and XPK, Suche. Yeah. Got the big hitters. It's definitely in Fnatic's favor. Fnatic, we seeded them 3rd in our tournament. TCM is 14th. But you know what? We've had upsets. We've had a Mono Esports upset. We could have another upset here today, but we will see. We have everyone in the game, and I think we're just actually about ready to go.
While we're waiting, I will mention, guys, make sure to check us out at youtube.com/IPLLOL. We have lots of cool League of Legends content. We've been doing out some cool interviews. We have Chowster interviews coming out this week, and then Dan didn't come out in the past. We're working. We're going to start ramping up the how fast we're processing them and posting them, but on a series of League of Legends tips and advice for improving your play and different strategies potentially. So definitely check that out. And then, of course, we do have Killing Spree every Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Yep. And then we have the EU rebroadcast on the next day. So Friday at, I know it's 9 o'clock Pacific, but I don't remember. I guess that means that it's 6 p.m. Eastern? I think that's right. So Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern is when we have our rebroadcast. Yep. But we are ready to go. Hopefully this game will start in a second. But make sure to follow us on Twitter. I'm at BaronCast, and this is at HatPerson. So we'll definitely be posting lots of information. There's also at IGN Pro League for more information.
Yeah, so if you ever want to keep up with our brackets tournaments, or if you're into StarCraft 2, you got lots of info there. But we are going straight in to Game 1. So TCM will have first pick in blue side, and they're going to start it out with Shyvana, which has already really been a key player really since Kiev. The huge counter jungling every game so far in this qualifier. We've seen Shyvana almost played or banned every time, and massive counter jungling coming from the EU teams too.
Yeah, she's definitely really strong, and I think just the tanky DPS nature of her helps combat any potential latency issues, which should be minor, but if you can kind of get going, she's a much more kind of strategic champion, and then in the fight, she kind of just run head on into the enemy. But The rest of the champs, we do have Talon, Karthus, and Sona bans. So Talon surprises me a little bit. I don't know if any of these guys are particularly known for their talent. That might be the case. Sona and Karthus, and actually Morgana, all pretty standard bans. They're all very versatile champions. This is the patch before this last patch, so Sona hasn't been nerfed yet, but even so, she's definitely viable, just not, necessarily a ban.
So right now, Tournament Realm is on the Sejuani patch. So Ziggs not available, Nautilus not available, but then also we are also still right before any huge nerfs to like Sona or any huge buffs to Shen that happened recently. And first pick from TCM, Rise escapes the bans, gets picked first.
Yeah, I kind of wonder whether or not how often Rise is played in EU, whether he is as much as he is in the NA, because I mean I have to imagine he is just because of how strong he is, and he's definitely he's a bruiser caster, so he's he's strong in lane, he's strong through mid game, he's strong late game. He just he's strong all around. He gives your team great single target DPS. The enemy team is actually going with Rammus, and I don't think that. Oh well, there we go. We've got a Nunu. So I guess they might be doing support Nunu. Would be my thought.
Yeah, same. I'm thinking the same thing.
My only concern is with the Rammus pick. Rammus, definitely a really strong jungler, and he's pretty easy to get ganks in. But if TCM decides to run a second kind of caster, magic damage champion who has some good survivability, then that can kind of counter out Rammus very well. Having if you have very defensive lanes, and actually Janna in the bottom lane is that kind of defensive lane, which will make it difficult for Rammus to kind of make his rounds and get a gank in.
Well, it's already difficult for Rammus to get a gank in on Rise in mid. Anyway, he has the Prism. Just it's not a skill shot based attack. You just target and go, and Rammus is just stuck there. Rise can walk away. It's kind of odd, odd pick from.
And the key will be to see if they can bait out the snare from Rise. Because Rise is generally going to be a very aggressive mid lane champion. Yeah. Whoever's going against him is going to try and kind of be a little aggressive or maybe act a little careless, and Rise is like, okay, well, I'm going to get in here, do some damage. Oh, wait, Rammus is in here, and I don't have my snare now. But the Cog pick also kind of surprises me as much as, like, the Nunu pick. Cog, definitely very strong as the game progresses when he gets lots of items, has great poke range, does a lot of magic damage, actually, so that does work very well against Rammus. But Cog is also one of the weaker laners in the game. So he is paired with Janna, which is a pretty strong support, but Janna doesn't have a heal. So you have a weak lane coupled with no heal, and right now neither of them are running summoner heal. So that could be a pretty dangerous lane for them, particularly since Nunu is a very aggressive support, assuming he is going bottom.
I imagine Kog'Maw and Janna will just sort of stay back, wait for Kog'Maw to get 6, at which point he can just go ahead and mortar away at Nunu. Because if you have Nunu and potentially Vayne, she's just going to be blood boiled the entire time. And I think TCM is more than happy to play the defensive game bot lane, seeing that. So Gangplank being hovered over, we are getting to Vayne. We are definitely getting Vayne Nunu bot. And
that you're right. The blood boil is going to be key, because if Vayne can get going, then she's just naturally going to take over the game with the excellent support that Nunu's going to provide. The one issue is, how is their initiation? It'll probably be dependent on Rammus either running in, picking someone off, or Gangplank with his ultimate. So, if Vayne has to be kind of playing a little bit more aggressively, then maybe Rise and, Cog or anyone could pick him off. And actually, Maokai is definitely a really strong decision for this jungle, because he's one of the, most aggressive junglers in the game, provides great map control, just lots of counter jungling from Maokai usually. And then he also provides great AoE control in team fights.
Wukong, I think, would actually also be a really good pick against Gangplank. He has the poke enough to deal enough damage as he can. He can farm somewhat. I'm pretty sure TCM is really going for very defensive. They're just more than happy staying at their own towers, letting themselves farm, and just let Fnatic let them be aggressive. And I think Maokai is actually a really good pick to counter, that sort of over-aggression.
Yeah, Wukong definitely is very, strong in lane. They're actually going to be having AP Nunu potentially. I'm guessing they'll probably swap up and have Nunu, or I would assume Nunu bot. But Wukong, he can survive the Rammus ganks pretty easily. And then he also has the benefit of, because their team is so Vayne-centric, he can just, jump into Vayne in the middle of those team fights, pop her up. Also canceling Nunu's ult would, help. And they are remaking for a second because the swap was not working, and we'll be right back in a second.
Yep. So, yeah, Nunu, Rammus, Gangplank, Vayne, Galio. So, I'm pretty sure, Galio's going to be going mid, I think, no matter what. Because they really have no other... Nunu mid?
Galio, can go mid, and he would be okay mid. The concern would be that Ryze is actually a pretty strong counter pick to Galio.
Yeah.
I have seen Galio's support before, so right now they have 3 people who Gangplank will probably be in a lane. I mean, out of any of them, I'd say Gangplank's the strongest support, but he's also their strongest laner from those 3. I would assume that Nunu is going to go mid and try and use his consume and spam ability against Ryze.
Yep.
It could be really anything. Galio could be going mid. Galio would probably go top, and Gangplank mid. That actually makes sense.
So Nunu will be support.
Yeah.
Okay. So Nunu grabbing Flash and Clairvoyance. Galio, he's got the teleport and Flash going in. And also, and Fnatic's also going for a nice little AoE comps. You have Galio ult, you have Nunu ult, you have Rammus ult.
Yeah.
All fantastic, large AoE range. I mean, if the Galio ult lands Flash ult, that's 2 other ults that TCM has to deal with if they get enough of their members trapped in that taunt.
And that's, why Wukong and Maokai are definitely, pretty strong picks, because Maokai has the anti-AoE, and then Wukong has the pop-up. He can stop both Galio and Nunu. So as long as he just, has that timed right with his ultimate, he's got, great initiation on Vayne. He's got great counter AoE for their team, and they definitely have some good poke and single target burst. Like their team definitely has a really strong potential for picking off people with Ryze, with Maokai and Wukong, and then Kog, as the game progresses, will have a lot of damage. The primary concern is going to be whether or not how effectively Kog is going to be able to farm against Vayne and Nunu bot.
Yep. So these are your teams. Game 1, we are in round of 16 qualifiers for IPL4. Fnatic, they've banned out Talon, Sona, and Sivir. They're picking Nunu, Rammus, Gangplank, Vayne, and Galio. TCM banned out Shyvana, Karthus, Morgana. They picked out Ryze, Janna, Kog'Maw, Wukong, and Maokai. We will be loading in just a second. We're going to run some ads in just a moment, and while we're doing that, remember, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/IGNProLeague. We are running a nice little contest so you can get yourself $25 worth of RP. So we shall be right back in just a moment. See you in a minute. We are back, everyone. These are IPL4 qualifiers. This is the round of 16 Fnatic versus TCM. I'm Hat Person. With me is the Red Baron. Game number 1 underway. And TCM, Fnatic both moving out into respective jungles. Do you think we may actually see an invade on either side, or do you think they're just going to both play defensive?
It's kind of difficult for either team to invade. If anyone's going to invade, it'll probably be Fnatic, and the key would be that Maokai is probably going to set up at these Wraiths. So not only is Maokai going to do Wraiths, but Blue usually comes down to these mini golems. They're actually coming down here. They could attack both of them. Janna's actually about to be walking in this brush. She throws down a ward to protect herself, but there's the slow from Galio. She's going to be able to get away, I think, with that whirlwind, but she's taking a lot of damage. Vayne chasing after her. If Galio tanks it, this is actually going to be a first blood for Lamia. Able to pick up the kill, and XPK taking some damage, but tanking perfectly for his team.
30 seconds.
And the ward was all for naught too. They were all in that bush. Ward goes down, they all just auto attack it immediately. It's gone. So not only has Fnatic gotten the bonus gold from the first blood, Janna's already down a ward also in lane.
And it's actually interesting. It's really just because Janna was slow. She had the right play in mind to, ward off this tri-brush, because that was definitely a strong play by Fnatic and something they could be expecting. But she was just a little bit too slow getting out of base, which definitely hurt her some. I just want to mention for a second, I took a look at some of the runes, and we actually see Ryze going mid, but I think that's kind of interesting. I was going to say I would expect Ryze to go top to counter Galio, but Galio's actually looks like he's coming mid, so maybe Ryze is expecting that Galio's coming mid and they're, I don't know, doing some mind stuff there. But trying to get these mini golems, but they, you know, kind of expecting that people are coming in. There we go, Ziv, Sol, Sleazy Weezy. But I was going to say, Galio does very well against Wukong because of his shield. It you know, gives him a lot of armor and MR, of course, and then helps him to you know, sustain as he heals off of the auto attacks. But against Ryze, Ryze does very well against Galio, and Galio actually isn't running very much MR. He's got a little bit from runes and then some from masteries, but not a whole lot. So Ryze will do fairly well against him mid.
While Fnatic was going ahead and taking TCM's blue, they also put a ward up by TCM's blue, just so you know if Maokai would come out and try and do some counter jungling of his own. And here he is. He's trapped at Fnatic's Raze. Gets caught out by Rammus, and Rammus is going to go ahead and auto attack him while he tries to run away. So Fnatic's already up 2 kills. It's not even 3 minutes yet. So TCM quite behind, and Maokai actually gave up the blue when he died there. So he's down to red already because Fnatic stole it. He's down to blue because he lost it. Maokai is extremely crippled right now.
And I kind of feel like that's, to a degree, lazy jungling by Maokai. You know, it's kind of difficult to counter jungle Rammus early on because he is actually a very fast jungler these first couple of levels. And you actually, if Rammus does a normal route, blue coming over, he doesn't have enough time. He actually didn't do blue, and because he was in this bot jungle, he skipped right over Vayne and Cog, you know, trading some damage here. But I feel like you had to expect that Rammus is going to get in there and then pull these wraiths back so that you have a better escape route. He didn't leave himself with an escape route. You know, didn't flash over the wall like he probably should have, and picked up the kill for Rammus.
So Maokai now meandering on into mid, but he will be spotted. He's not going to be able to press that situation very much, but he will go ahead and wander down to bot. But Galio is laying in wait, and Nunu's coming up as well. I think we're going to have a tree sandwich here in a moment. Vayne comes in. She is blood boiled. Maokai does get the root off of Vayne, but it's not really going to do too much. Present comes in for Nunu. We got flashes going on, and Nunu's just going to get away. But Maokai struggling to get back to that tower. And Vayne, a little bit too eager to try and get that stun off the wall, ends up accidentally pushing Maokai back to safety.
Yeah, she actually had the kill for herself. Maokai had already flashed, so I'm a little bit surprised she didn't just attack and take it. She was a little too concerned. I mean, she had her team to back her up, so she should have been okay there. But that, you know, that definitely could have helped snowball them a little bit, and not seeing, you know, I guess the safest play from Maokai. He knew that the enemy was chasing after him, and so he was trying to run to his team, but really you have to expect that you're, when they're pushed up like this, you're just running into the enemy down bot.
Yeah, there was a little bit of disarray there in that last fight, and right now Janna and Cog really just they're already playing defensive. They're already being pushed up in lane, so it's hard to get assistance from a lane when they're already forced to play defensively. And even if you have to enter into that lane, you know, Fnatic is already pushed up so far in bot. It was really easy for them to just go ahead and engage, but Nunu is just a little bit too overzealous. He does have to flash away. Will Maokai be able to get the root off? Well, if he does, he's going to be in trouble. He does get the root. He is off under tower. Tornado will not be able to do it. Oh, the slime. Kog'Maw just can't get that last hit off either. Wow. That could have been it.
Again, Cog would have had that kill, had the last hit, pulling off just a little bit too soon. So
yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Top lane should be pretty even between Gangplank and Wukong. Gangplank definitely has a little bit of a harass advantage early on because of, you know, the parley spam. You know, so we do see that Wukong has gone with cloth and, you know, health pots, so he'll probably be building towards a Wriggles. He can actually do kind of anything, but because he's going to want to sustain against Gangplank, he will probably build that into a Wriggles. And Gangplank, actually knowing that he's going against the physical damage, picks up the Ninja Tabby to, you know, mitigate some of that damage.
So Vayne doing some counter warding actually.
So I'm just going to change something real quick because there's something messed up with the video on my side. I can't tab.
All right, there we go. So right now, top lane, Wukong
Okay,
still doing some harass up on top lane. Bot lane, Nunu is actually pretty far out in that bush. He's getting some very aggressive wards. He just wants to know where Janna and Kog'Maw are at all times. And Ram is coming in from behind. Wukong tries to port back to town. That's the wrong place to be porting. And Galio is now coming in and joining the fun down in bot lane. Shane just getting some more harass down on Cog and Janna. But yeah, bad spot for Wukong to be porting back to.
Yeah, and Galio actually used his teleport to come down here. I feel like he probably could have just wandered down, trying to get in the quick gank, but TCM is definitely out of position for this one because Galio is coming up right behind them. He will have his ultimate. There he goes. He uses the flash ultimate. Really, probably not necessary. They're not going to be able to pick up this Janna because Fnatic was actually, there he goes, picking up the Janna, and now Fnatic chasing down Valix. Not going to be able to get out the kill, and Maokai coming up, going to be able to pick up the kill on XPK. So 1-for-1 exchange, definitely not what you want, but Lamia, able to pick up some kills. So,
yeah.
But Cog is as well. So I guess pretty even exchange.
XPK got a little bit too over aggressive there. Maokai, Maokai was coming back from base. He's coming down to help. So, but you know what? 1-for-1, still good. And right now, Rammus is going to be scoping out TCM's blue to see what's going on. Gets the ward down. CV going down from TCM. They do see him down there. They assume they placed the ward, but Rise is going to go ahead and try and take the blue anyway with a little help from the tree. But Rammus coming in. He has his power ball. He's just waiting. He's waiting by that bush. He knows they're nearby.
He's going to try and smite steal, but because he doesn't have his team ready yet, actually Gangplank and Galio are coming in. Farfane, taking his time with this blue, so they're actually going to be able to take this off because Rise probably needed to do some damage there. Rammus actually able to get the taunt, so we have some nukes coming down from XPK. Janitin is going to have to flash away. He's going to get out of there. Gangplank throwing off the ultimate, and now chasing down Farfane, who twisted advanced into Sushi, but he's going to go down. Inky in the middle of his team, but he's actually probably going to go down as well. Can we get a taunt from Rammus? Just barely missing on the taunt, and then Gangplank, a crit there would have had it.
Oh, that was close. That was ridiculously close, but Fnatic will be able to convincingly take TCM's blue. And they do smartly CV out Rise. They saw him left lane, so they assume he's nearby, and there he is.
Yeah, and being able to control the buffs this early in the game, they are, at a slight gold advantage. That's definitely huge. They, know they probably wouldn't go for Dragon for a little bit because Galio did have the early teleport earlier, so that won't be up until about 11 minutes. In which point, Galio and Gangplank will probably swap lanes. Valix and Ziv actually doing pretty good in the spot lane, with the control that Janna provides. Not a whole lot of harass from Nunu. He's primarily just supporting Lamia with that Blood Boil.
So we're almost about to hit 10 minutes, and Fnatic has a 4-kill lead, 2K gold advantage, 3K gold advantage. I'm sorry, and man, they've really gotten the early game aggression that they needed. They did that strong counter jungling earlier. They really put the hurt on Maokai's earlier jungling by taking red buff and taking his own blue buff just by killing him as he wanders into their own forest. And right now, just TCM's being really pushed in both mid lane and bot lane, and Rammus is now also coming around, and he's going to be going out from behind, checking out the red buff, and I think we actually maybe start a little bit push down in bot once Vayne gets back in her position. Gangplank now top lane again. And yeah, I think Fnatic's just, they know they're ahead, and they're just going to go ahead and just be a little bit more relaxed now right after they make an attempt here on Rise. Rammus gets a flash in and a taunt. Galio comes in with the ult, and Rise should be going down pretty easy after that. Yep.
Yeah, pretty good job picking up the kill there. I was kind of thinking that they wouldn't have time to get in, but the power ball with the flash was very strong, and then they actually do have very good dragon control with Vayne. Will just have a ton of damage, and then the consume from Nunu coupled with the smite. So they do have a 4v3 advantage here, and then also the global of Gangplank. So this should be a free dragon for them.
Yeah, after they take down that dragon, they're going to be up 5k gold. It's Fnatic is in such a commanding position right now, so early on. Yikes.
Yeah, and Gangplank actually picked up the red buff, so that does provide him a little bit more control against Wukong, and he hasn't had very good ward control, so I'm a little bit surprised that Maokai hasn't been more aggressive ganking up this top. I mean, I recognize he doesn't know where Fnatic's wards are, but neither team really warding a whole lot this game. Which is a little bit surprising considering that Maokai and Rammus are both very aggressive junglers.
Yep. I mean, pretty much, all 3 lanes are being won by Fnatic. They're up in creep score in pretty much every lane every metric possible. And it's just if you just need to, if you need a metric, if you need something to go by, just look at the gold, look at the kills, look at everything.
And the big thing for Fnatic is making sure Lamia gets fed, because they have Nunu, they have Gangplank, Galio. Those are all support champions. Rammus is primarily there to just pick people off and try and get people in position for Lamia to kill him. But it's really all about supporting that Vayne, and they are actually going to come in here and try and steal this red. TCM trying to prepare themselves, but Lamia should be able to pick this up. Is going to grab the red, and that's actually going to be, pretty devastating for TCM for quite some time.
Sleazy was taking the point on that, just absorbing all the damage in the bush, while TCM was trying to get some poke, trying to see what is going on. But, I look at the ward coverage, too. Fnatic, they have the enemy jungle warded, they have the rivers warded, they have all the vision they need in order to just stroll through TCM's jungle if they ever need to, and take anything they want, really.
Yeah, they are playing pretty aggressively right now. That's kind of the mark of a good team, is when you're ahead to, be aggressively counter jungling, know the timers on the buffs. Valek's going to be chasing down Lamia here, taking a lot of damage, is probably going to be able to get out of there. So Nunu's actually going to slow him and try and get out, but now Maokai's coming up, and he's actually going to flash Twisted Advance onto Lamia. Farfane going to try and take him down with that ultimate, but he's going to flash out of there. Melisson using his ultimate to slow them down, and XPK teleporting in, going to get the ultimate on both Valek's and Yusuf. Maokai trying to get out of there, but he's definitely going to go down. So in that whole exchange, just one kill. Going to be trying to chase after Janna here. Not going to be able to pick him up. I'm going to just stop trying to say his name because I have no idea how that's pronounced.
Lamia is doing a fantastic job ducking in and out of the fight when necessary. Ridiculously low on health. We had to use a summoner heal earlier, but wonderful, wonderful job knowing when to engage, when to pull back, and when to re-engage.
And kind of some misplay there by Fnatic. After they were able to pick up the Janna kill, Galio tanking the tower for his team, but no one chasing after him. Lamia not coming in onto that Cog. So Galio goes down to Cog and, kind of mitigates some of their advantage.
Nunu getting caught by Ryze, trying to leave that tri-bush, and the Ignite finishes him off. So Nunu tried to get away, but just ended up taking the wrong path home. But
and in the meantime,
look at
Suchet definitely has an advantage here. He will go invisible, trying to bait out some damage so that Suchet will take some tower damage, but there's the parlay, able to pick up that kill.
He's just going to go ahead, tank those 2 tower hits, and just stroll on out. Now a 6K gold advantage from Fnatic.
And I'm a little bit surprised that Wukong hasn't been back yet, and it's really because he hasn't had a lot of help from his team, so he didn't want to lose his tower, but he really needed to just get out of there, get some items, because he doesn't have enough to sustain against Gangplank, particularly when Gangplank has Ninja Tabby and Wriggle's Lantern. So Gangplank has the item advantage, and Wukong, could have bought some items but wasn't. So they are going to come up and take this blue once again, and denying the blue from Ryze will definitely hurt him out. He's probably going to have to go a heavy mana build, tier into a Catalyst, which is pretty standard for Ryze, but not having that mana regen in the early game definitely hurts him a lot.
Yeah. TCM down bot lane, trying to get some they're finally trying to get some aggression down on bot tower, but Lamia's just she's got too much stuff at this point. She's got her Wriggles, 2 Doran's Blades. How many? She's up 20 creep kills on Kog'Maw at the moment. And plus you have the Blood Boy, you have the extra movement speed, you have everything that comes along with it. It's just not really much you can do. You can't really push against that without some massive form of assistance, which unfortunately TCM cannot provide right now because they are so far behind.
And the thing to remember is that TCM, they do have pretty good poke. So as the game progresses, their team will focus more and more on that. Cog does have the long range, of course, so that'll help them out. But if, Fnatic just kind of keeps up this gold advantage and continues to roll away with it, we actually have XPK out of position here, and they're going to chase him down, but he's just too tanky now. The Shirelli is going off from Maokai, and Wukong's in here as well. There's the ultimate from XPK, trying to pick up this kill on Janatan. Is going to be able to do it. How many kills can he pick up? He's actually going to be able to pick up Maokai as well, and then Wukong is going to go down, able to pick up XPK, but a 3-for-1 exchange. So yeah, I was about to say, if they get XPK, enough items where he can just tank the enemy team and be really aggressive with his ults, then, any of this poke won't matter from TCM.
There's 4 AoE ults on Fnatic. And Gangplank can do it wherever he is. Vayne taking a little bit too much damage. But, you know, like I said, Fnatic is just so far ahead in the lead right now. It's a 8K gold advantage. Pretty good right now at this point, and we're 17 minutes in. We're not even at the 20-minute mark yet.
Yeah, and they took top tower here. Mid tower is going to go down, but actually below half. Because I guess Vayne and Nunu had been pretty aggressive so far, so that one probably won't last very long. Dragon is up, so they are all going to be grouping around here. And TCM definitely isn't in the position to kind of deny this Dragon. You know, even if they all group up, it's because they're a little bit behind. They need to kind of be slower with their damage, try and poke Fnatic down some. They can't just do a full head-on fight, which is what Fnatic wants. And that's the big thing. When you have a strong AoE team and you have this strong teamfight team, you can just force objectives, and you're either going to get the objective for free or force the enemy into a fight that is to your benefit.
Mostly they're going to be getting those objectives for free because since TCM is they're so pushed in, they're so far behind, they now don't have the ward coverage that they really should be having. They have really nothing in the river. They have one offensive ward in the Tri-Bush top lane and defensive ward by their wraiths. That's really all they've got. And while in the meantime, Fnatic has just been warding aggressively all game. Pretty much every buff, any bushes, any entry spots that TCM may come in to try and stop their attempts at stealing their buffs, but as we said before, it's kind of all for naught. Fnatic is forcing the fights they know they can win.
Yeah, and I'm kind of intrigued by this team comp that they're running. It should be interesting to see how TCM deals with it. But Fnatic's team definitely pretty strong early. Their primary weakness is Galio in lane. But I don't know, through the mid game, they definitely have great teamfight advantage. Galio doing fine, and actually Shushei coming up onto Inky here, and the rest of his team is behind, so is going to be able to pick up the kill, and that's just unfortunate. So once again extending the lead, but having all these champions whose primary goal is to win their lane and then buff Vayne in teamfights is pretty exciting.
That is the second time Inky has died in that bush, trying to either outmaneuver or recall back to base. So I would highly recommend, and sometimes sometimes you can get away with it if your team is on the aggressive end. If you're being aggressive, sometimes you can recall wherever you like, but if you're playing defensive, if most of your lanes are being pushed, if the other team is extremely aggressive, it's just not going to work, especially if they have a Rammus, which they do, and Ryze is being trying to defend top tower, but Galio and Gangplank are just too much for him to handle. And right now also in bot lane, Nunu is getting caught out of position, but he will flash away, should be able to get away just fine. And Maokai in the middle of everything. Vayne is just sticking back, getting as much damage as she can on everyone, having to roll away. But Kog'Maw with the aggressive flash, trying to get that one last attack on her, and Maokai will still give chase. Nunu is still alive. Kog'Maw getting caught in the bot bush. Janna has no choice but to ult to try and fend off Fnatic for as long as they can, but it is all for naught. Kog'Maw will go down to that one last blast from XPK, and Janna will follow soon as Rammus gets the Powerball and the taunt, and there it is, and Janna should go down in just a moment.
Yeah, and pretty good map control once again by Fnatic. TCM, trying to get back in this game, almost picking up the Vayne kill, flashing just as that caustic spittle or whatever was going to hit her.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Fnatic doing a pretty good job. They should probably just alternate between lanes, pushing back and forth. Ryze is up here with Maokai, though, and Ryze is definitely going to deal a lot of damage. Farfane is going to go down, but XPK is pretty close to following, but actually Ryze is going to run away. He probably could have picked up the Galio kill and then turned onto Rammus. But he didn't have good ward coverage, didn't recognize actually Vayne coming down here, so now no kills, and he's probably pretty close to going down. Actually, Vayne taking a lot of damage from that tower. One more hit would have done it. And now Kog probably won't be able to chase them. Yeah, Galio's just too fast, but Wukong able to take the top tower in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean Kog'Maw, he does have the huge range projectile, but Vayne, being as she is, she can just easy tumble away from any kind of barrage that Kog'Maw can throw, and that's why she's been able to get away from a lot of these fights. Tumble away, retreat, and blood boiled, so she has the extra movement speed as well. We saw Maokai try and chase her during that last major fight, just could not catch up, just could not twisted advance her.
And I think the primary concern for TCM coming forward, not only are they really far behind, so Fnatic's going to continue taking these advantages, but TCM kind of had to look forward to their team fight presence. And because Cog was in a difficult lane, he had to go Wriggles and then deciding to go 3 Doran's Blades. So that will give him a decent amount of damage early on. It is a pretty strong build early. But the lack of heavy damage items won't allow him to be as much of a presence in these team fights as you would like.
Yeah. Usually stacking of Doran's Blades on many characters, bot, mid, top, wherever. Usually when you stack 3 of them, it's kind of an indication that the player feels that they're behind in lane. They feel they need that extra health. They feel they just need a little bit of everything. And right now, Fnatic is getting their wards placed ready. They're about ready to attempt Baron. They know if TCM will be approaching. They have fantastic coverage. They have everything they need. They may just go ahead, camp out the bush, force the fight, and if they can force the successful fight at Baron, it should be GG if they can do it. But PK staying behind. Because if TCM does come in, the first thing we need to see is a very, very sweet Galio ult to get off that wonderful initiation. We may have it. We just got Kog'Maw on the edge, just on the edge of that ult, but Janna has to go in with the ult. Maokai's a little bit too far ahead. He's getting focused down. Nunu ult going down. Try and get those slows off and everyone, and Rise try and get away. He's out on the outskirts. Rammus coming in as a Powerball, getting the kill off on Kog'Maw. Rise has no choice but to run. He may actually fall under his own tower if Fnatic wishes it to be, but it's not even really a necessity. But Rammus is going to go ahead, Powerball in. We're going in for the dive. Comes in with the flash taunt. There he is. Vayne comes in with the ace. Wonderful job by Fnatic.
And they are pinging Baron. They probably don't have enough survivability. XPK could tank it for them, so there is the potential, but actually, never mind. The enemy team's back too soon. That fight lasted so long, they're already respawning. So they are just going to back. They do want to come back to Baron right away, though, because there is the potential that TCM could try, for the risky counter Baron, just because they need something to get them back into this game. So that could help stall the game some for them.
Yep. Because Fnatic backed, there is a very ridiculously small window for TCM to go ahead and take Baron from under their nose, but remember, everything in that area is warded. If they do go for it, Fnatic will know. And if TCM did have Dragon warded, usually if you have a team that's going for Dragon, that's usually just enough time to grab Baron if you're in position to do so, but TCM is not, so Fnatic will get this free Dragon. TCM is stuck. They're all gathering in mid lane. They may just be able to wander over to Baron and take that as well.
Yeah, it's actually the right play for them to ignore Baron right now and just kind of push. So, they took the Dragon, and then they should just kind of push these lanes. There's no need for them to go to Baron. They can use the Baron to force fights if they like, but really the only potential for TCM to come back into this game is if Fnatic, gets careless with their Baron and, maybe loses a fight to TCM or loses the Baron. I don't think there's that much of a potential for it at this point in the game. But that's really TCM's only potential for coming back. And Galio is going to split push bottom, so they should just kind of stall here. They should actually probably come up and try and steal this blue. They are probably strong enough where they can 4v5, but Galio will have his teleport. So we do have the engage from Inky coming in onto the team, but Sleazy Weezy was fine with tanking that. Maokai Twisty advancing into Lamia, but she's going to be fine as well. And there's the teleport flash ult into the rest of the team, but XPK is going to have his ult canceled. He's now chasing after the enemy team, and Fnatic Lamia is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Wukong. There's the Janna kill. Shushe still trying to get in on Cog. He will have the movement speed buff from Galio, so they are going to be able to pick that up as well. And now they really could just push down a lane. Actually, none of the lanes are pushed, so they might decide to go for Baron. There is the surrender. So congratulations to Fnatic picking up the win over TCM in game number 1 of this best of 3.
Good stuff. Good stuff from Fnatic. TCM did really have a rough start on that one, but I will give him credit, though. That last fight, Janna saved the ult for the right time, and she was just far away enough from Galio in order for her push to just cancel the ult. That was a good play, but then again, it was just a little bit too little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they, Fnatic, a little bit surprised by their comp, but definitely, works very well. it's really a Vayne-centric comp, like I said, for team fights. It's
Yep.
it's the super DPS and then the supports. We used to see a lot of that. I guess almost 2 years in it. A little over a year ago. That was kind of the big play in professional League of Legends. But seeing it come back did work nicely. Gangplank just going to work on Wukong top. Never saw a gank top, which is surprising because Wukong is a very aggressive top lane. You primarily have him in the lane, one for aggression in the team fights, and they did have some potential with Wukong. But really, you have Wukong so that you can just have the potential to burst down your enemy, your opponent in the lane. And if they could have gotten a Maokai gank onto Gangplank, they would have had the potential there for Wukong to pick up some kills. Instead, Maokai, kind of a couple of misplays, not really ever able to get involved in the game. And because, both teams actually took Clairvoyance, so the Clairvoyance did help them keep control of where the junglers were to prevent some of those aggressive ganks. But really it came down to Rammus versus Maokai in that early game.
Yeah, and Maokai just got shut down so badly. We had the early invade from Fnatic. And Maokai lost blue on a little bit of an aggressive counter jungling play, a little bit careless on that. But I gotta give props to Fnatic. Their team comp was wonderful because if one person on their team gets off their AoE ult, everyone else gets their AoE ult for free pretty much, and that's a dead TCM. So we're gonna get everyone in the lobby for game number 2 coming up shortly. So while we're going to commercial, remember, follow us on Twitter. He's at Baroncast. I'm at Hatperson. If you want to follow anything going on with the IGN Pro League, just at IGN Pro League right there on Twitter. And also remember, we're always looking for replays. We do have our top 5 series. We have our Learn to Play series. So if you have an awesome play you want to send us, IPLLOLreplays@gmail.com. Same address. If you're new to the game, if you're having trouble, send us that replay too. We'll help you out. So while we're waiting for everyone to get into the game, we're just going to go to a quick commercial, so we will be back in a moment. This is IPL4 Qualifiers. This is a round of 16. We'll be back in a minute.